You're listening to the Jaybird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansite.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-host Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Hello and good evening, all you wonderful Toronto Blue Jays fans. I am your host, Craig Borden, right here on the Jaybird Watching Podcast with the wonderful gang that I get to hang out with every week. And I get to even say this for the first time. Baseball is almost here. So, Jason Lyons, how the hell are you, my friend?
Real good, man. Real good. You know, excited to see the game on Saturday potentially. Starts nice and early, so I can watch it while I'm still enjoying a coffee. So that's always positive when I can see a little baseball happening. Of course, nice to see. I saw some clips of Louis Varland throwing hard today, and Trey Savage looked great already. Just want to see it get going. Excited to have the possibility of maybe the Mets play Bichette a little bit against the Jays. He hasn't looked great in the footage they're putting out of him at third base. I mean, he's going to struggle there to start, but I didn't think he would struggle as much as he has already. But yeah, beautiful day here in Vancouver and smells like baseball.
New position. We'll talk it out. But Anyway, as we have our unofficial fourth member, and we feel like we have a bunch of those unofficial fourth members here. We got our buddy Daryl of the Jaybirdie Baseball. How we doing, bud?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm in cold Toronto, opposed to Craig and Jason, where Jason said it's really nice. Just had a snowstorm, but nonetheless, people are talking about games, and everybody just seems to think it's the Olympic Games or the upcoming hockey games. But there's a baseball game on Saturday, and that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
It's something about that springtime's in the air officially now. We are maybe past these slushy ice storms that we get to enjoy, Daryl, around Lake Ontario and all this horribleness. But to that point, it is just like it's right there. It's at the tip of our tongue. It's all these wonderful things that we get to enjoy and get back to every day, something I get to love and enjoy, which is baseball. That is the one thing that amongst all sports guys, that is my favorite part to this whole thing. And it's partly why I think my brain is unfortunately trained the way it is. Oh no, we lost today. Well, get to do it all over again tomorrow.
Flush it.
What is the most important things you guys are thinking now that baseball is back? What is the number one thing you are looking forward to? And Daryl, you're the guest. You first, bud.
Well, for me, it's spring training, so I need to know when the games are. When it's a regular schedule and it's from end of March, April onwards to Labor Day, we know every night of the week or some weekend game days there's 1 to 4 o'clock end nights. But I'm just happy that it's back. I can't wait for the storylines. We got some early games and adoptions. I think the Jays are playing the Mets fairly early, so I'd love to see if Bo's in that game. I think that the team's got a lot of courage coming back. I watched what John Snyder said to the team the other day, and that was one motivational speech. And it's for all athletes of all sports and all coaches from all sports and all athletes to look at. You cannot rely on what you did last year. The picture's full ahead for us this year. That's why the rear view is small, and we got a big year ahead of us. So can't rest on last year's laurels. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Let's see them come out to shoot. Let's see them have some fun. People have to prove something. And I'll keep my opinions on some of the players till we get involved down this podcast.
There you go. Jason, you're on mute still, but what is the most important thing you're looking forward to seeing this coming weekend here? Or at least your main reason baseball's back?
Yeah, sorry, that might happen. I've got a cough, so I'm trying not to just cough directly into the thing as much as I possibly can.
You sound lovely, though. I'm just getting over the same thing, and I know that's why
if my voice gets any deeper, it will only be able to be heard by dogs, I think. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I'm looking forward to most, and Daryl, you touched on it a little bit there, is I really appreciated the way that John Schneider said, we're not trying to avenge the World Series. We're not trying to go in as we won the AL last year. We're starting anew, and our goal is to be one game better than they were last year. And so for me, I mean, I think that the growth, the things that I'm most looking forward to during the season as it's young is I want to see some more growth out of Ernie Clement. I want to see some more growth out of Nathan Lukes. I want to see Dalton Varsho turn into the guy that we mortgaged, one of our best catching prospects ever for. Now, Gabby hasn't turned into what we thought he might, but I mean, I don't know if it would have been different here, maybe. But I want to see the young guys or middle-aged guys really start to blossom and become baseball players of value for the year. And then I'm really interested now by the fact that Scherzer still is our only unsigned free. I wouldn't mind throwing him in the mix. I know that we picked a kid up today to fill up the last spot. But apparently he's a pretty good baseball player too, that kid we picked up from Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm
just surprising he was available, honestly, at the end of the day.
I'm reading some of the story. It looks like the Cubs were just total turds to this guy. But I feel like that happens more than we know about. I feel like I think Cabin Biggio probably got some of that where he wasn't treated all that well basically anywhere he went, but I don't know if that's a him or it was the league. Anyways, yeah, I mean, just excited to see what comes of all of those guys and the changes that they make and the tweaks and the additions and just see where we're at.
Yeah. Interesting with the Cabin Biggio thing, because regardless of the fact that he's bounced around since being traded to the Dodgers by the Blue Jays, to finish his tenure with Toronto, this is actually, funny enough, the first uniform he will wear that isn't blue. With the
That's a stat. That's a stat.
Yeah, that is a good stat.
There's
your deep dive. This is the guy wearing literally all blue right now. So I want to talk on that speech because there were some very, very key things about that speech by John Schneider in the locker room with the first team meeting and everything the other day, I mean. And first workout was this past Monday, get the whole gang together. And there were some key things. And the first one I wanted to point out and discuss was the fact that he quotes George Springer in the middle of this thing. And it says, he says, to quote George, the banner went up, the target went up. Everybody is now hunting the Toronto Blue Jays. And that was the mantra of why they have to stay themselves, to your point, Daryl. I thought that was a very pointed, very good comment by a leader like George Springer, and then obviously emphasized by the manager, John Schneider.
So, yeah, I mean, they do have a target on their back, but they also know that there's an expectation now. And if they're going to go in, as he says, like, we're not going to go in as the defending AL champions. Well, you still are. And you still were an eyelash away from hoisting the trophy. So you do have a major, major trophy on your back. And target on your back. But what I do like, there's a lot of new people in that clubhouse too. And he had the level set early. You may not have been with this group last year. You may have been in the minor leagues last year and watched us on TV. But everybody's part of this organization. I like that it looked like the 40-man was there, if not extended roster. Whoever was invited to camp was there to hear it. Because all those men have a chance to be there this summer. I mean, this fall, if Savage started the year in A-ball and was ended up in the World Series, everybody's available in that organization.
Exactly. And that's what it needs to be. And to that point, that is the beautiful thing that the Blue Jays now have with this wonderful player complex they have in Dunedin. They have all that horsepower to be able to keep all these people together, minor leagues and major league roster together. But there was definitely the entire invited to spring training in that locker room while he was talking. So, Jason, the other big, huge note that they discussed is they wanted to be obsessed with teamwork. They wanted to be the players to be obsessed with what they're good at and knowing their role. That was the key word, was obsessed during that. What do you think when you're hearing John Schneider bring those kind of words to the ballpark for what they want to form up for this season?
Yeah, I feel like John Schneider learned a lot about himself and how to manage a baseball team last year. I think that John had his ups and downs. The Jays had their ups and downs. They made some bad decisions. I think he finally, and I feel like, this is true, is that I feel like he finally demanded the reins fully. Like, said to management, if you guys don't trust me, then I'm going to go somewhere else where I can find a team that does trust me. And, I'm going to make the decisions. There's certainly nothing coming down from above. And I feel like as soon as he sort of started to assert himself, he started to see what worked with this group. He trusts a number of guys in there. He's feeding off guys too. And so I guarantee you that anything he is reiterating right now is stuff that he's either heard from a Springer or Vladdy talk about. and sort of moving those things down the ladder to the other people so that everyone's speaking the same language. It's the easiest way to have a successful team is everyone's talking about the same thing, pulling on the same, end of the rope.
If I could add to that, I could not agree more. The first thing that I noticed is that was all about communication. So we're going to have no communication issues or errors. I think I couldn't agree more. He learned a lot about himself. When Burroughs left, that's a problem. There was probably not a lot of communication. And then I kept on thinking that one of the moves that he was okay with was Don Mattingly leaving. And I think what he did there as a leader was he got rid of his number 2 guy. Like that was his competition. If they tanked, Mattingly was going to take over. And by him not having Mattingly over his shoulder, he's showing, okay, give me the autonomy to coach this team. And throughout the playoffs, I didn't really notice him going to Mattingly as much as he went to Pete Walker. So it was as if he's trusting his hitting coach who he went to, and Mattingly was the bench guy, which is fine, but he was going to Pete Walker a lot. So I was impressed with that move, and that's saying, hey, communication's key. Give me the autonomy.
Yeah, no, I cannot say enough good things about that exact what you both gentlemen are. I think he knows it's his show now, where I think you guys know how it is. He came through this whole Blue Jays organization. You talk about a guy that is our guy. There's not many people that you could put more into that category than John Schneider. Literally fizzles out as a very good minor league catcher, but didn't get that high in the rankings for the Blue Jays, and then just continued to stay with the organization and literally works his way all the way to the highest amount of highs you can in a playing role. So I love the story. I love what he's been doing. I know we've wrote him here and there, but I still wonder how much before last season was really him allowing to do what he wanted. And I feel honestly, last year with the team being pretty much up against it to start the season in spring training, it allowed him to just say, you know what, I'm doing what I want. I'm going to do it my way. And I think the John Schneider way of what we saw with the Blue Jays, the Dave Hopkins and everybody last year as a coaching staff, we literally saw finally what the, fruits of all the labor, the toils and tribulations, all these things finally sum up to this is what the Blue Jays brand of baseball is going forward. And I can't wait to see what that looks like again this season, because guys, in worst case scenario, we're still going to see balls actually go into the field instead of being into the catcher's mitt. That is still the one. I cannot say enough good things about what the Blue Jays have done at the plate and that mantra that they are now really revving up on. And I think the guys that we brought in, one of my favorite highlights that I've seen so far this spring, and we'll go around and you guys can give a mention on what you would like to hear on this clip or another one you have happened to see, was Kazuma Akamoto taking Cody Ponce deep. Yeah. It was so much fun to watch. And he's got such a pretty swing.
Yeah.
He looks pretty dialed in, and I think it's because he knows he's going to the World Baseball Classic and he wants to do well for Japan. So he's coming in hot, I think, a little bit. So he could be one of those guys that's going to be really fun to watch this spring.
We needed another big stick. We really did.
He is such an unique, he is going to be so interesting to watch this year. I mean, if the Jays really found, I don't know if I'd call him a diamond in the rough, but I mean, if they found what they think they have in this dude, I mean, he could be an absolute season tilter if he can remain healthy. I don't know if they play more games in the Korean League or less, or what he's used to playing
Japan or any of those leagues.
Yeah. But I don't know what his workload is normally, but it will depend. But they do have. Go ahead, buddy.
No, sorry, I was gonna say also don't sleep on Jesus Sanchez. I think he's gonna be a power hitter too.
It's tough to give up Loperfido. I mean, I think he's no, it's all good. Tough to give up Lopes, and he was a guy I kind of wanted to see sort of in that same realm of Clement and those guys taking their next steps. But yeah, I mean, he could be a real game changer, no pun intended, for the entire season if he stays healthy.
Same with Addison Verger. Like these guys have, and if Varsho, like you said earlier, delivers on what he said he was going to deliver on, I mean, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And they're not, these are not household names. Maybe Canada they are, and to our fans they are, but they're going to twist some heads. Definitely.
Yeah. So we got our wonderful statistician that is the man, the myth, the legend, Cullen from our buddies at NEPTA. Not guy. They play a little bit less in the Japanese baseball league. So 143 games, but that's honestly Major League Baseball season was almost that used to be about that many games.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
But to that point last year, I know he's already jumped the next stat lines on me. I was going to say this. He didn't play the whole games last year.
We need to get him in an earbud.
Games.
I
know.
need him like in
gotta,
an extra earbud giving me the info so I look like a genius.
Or we got to get him away to. He gives us like literally we like have a fax machine over here, just like the old school broadcaster booths.
Little dot matrix rolling.
Do the little.
I'm not worried that he played
big
70 games. Look, he knows how to play 140. I'm not worried. Sometimes you need a break.
The Jays have the flexibility now to be able to rest him too. Like, I mean, if you need to put Barger in at 3, totally fine. Clement can
or
play.
even Ernie. He played there the whole season last year.
I mean, I feel like we've got the proper tools to allow these guys the proper rest. I feel it's like the Tampa Bay Lightning school of how to play a professional sport. Like, they don't put Kucherov, who's arguably one of the best players in the league, on IR every year because they don't want him healthy for the playoffs. I mean, it's just the smart thing to do when your body starts to age a little bit. And I mean, if we can give Springer a couple of days off, if he can just give everybody a few extra days off, and because he plays first and third, and we have the flexibility of having, Jimenez, and we have Ernie, and we have, and we have Schneider, all guys that can play the infield, and Miles Straw can play the outfield. So you got a lot of places, and and Sanchez. I mean, it seems like there was kind of some doom and gloom when we heard about Santander, and I think it takes some stones for him to have come out and kind of say sorry. Like, he doesn't have to say that, and I feel like he feels guilty about getting hurt all the time.
I got my own thing. I was going to save it, but. How do you not report your injury?
That's shitty. That's why he did it. I mean, that's why he came out with the presser. But
that was low. That's hurtful to the whole organization.
My worry on that whole thing, honestly, I have just as many questions on that one, Daryl, is not only just a him thing, but this was a organization choice to a certain manner too, because you invested this much money in that guy, and then they turn around and didn't buy or pay for an MRI to his shoulder for some reason.
Maybe they didn't know about it. That's what I think.
That's the only thing that makes any level of sense.
I think that this team is so high class. I really do. Not because I'm a fan, but you don't invest that much money in your facilities in Dunedin and in Toronto and know about that and say, hey, let's run you through an MRI machine. We'll fly to Toronto. I mean, it'll cost them nothing.
Well, they have them in the stadium. They don't even have to do anything anymore. They're just there. Right. So I have no idea. It's wild, and it's just insane to me. Like you said, it's just one of those silly things that it seems like it was kind of hidden, swept under the rug, whatever it might be. Right? It's what.
Oh, hey guys, really got a labrum tear.
Yeah. As a guy that's had a labrum tear in his shoulder, it's not a freaking good time. I knew there was something wrong the entire time that they were like, oh, yeah, by the way, don't worry about it. Just go to physical therapy. You'll be fine.
I don't know enough about the PA, but for him to wait this long, it's as if he needed the clock to start to get paid. It seems like there's some type of MLB PA or something around that. And I'm sure some of the listeners would know better than I do. But there has to be a game that you're playing to make sure that you're still getting some money in your pocket.
Something.
Yeah.
Maybe. To your point, that's not you might have hit the nail on the head read that one right there, my friend.
Yeah.
So anyway, without beating a dead horse or getting too far into conspiracy theories in Blue Jays universe or anything like that, that's the one bad story for this team.
Right.
It sucked that we have Bowden Francis, who we were hoping to maybe get a chance to come back. He had a similar thing going on that he just couldn't get over the hurdle. And then apparently there was a very big derail while he was ramping up because he's been at the players facility for a very long time, and just how things go, I guess. But it's amazing how the ball bounces some days and where your good luck is, where your bad luck is, and go from there. But What is your favorite storyline that you've heard? If you want to jump into that piece, Jason, go right ahead if you want.
The favorite story so far this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I tipped it a little bit today. I really like the fact that Louis Varland, they were showing some footage of him, and he is throwing like he wants to put a hole in every catcher's glove and possibly some bats. I mean, I think he sees an opportunity at this point right now that he could become the Jays closer, and he's a scary dude.
Yeah.
You know, like if he starts to keep if his velo can stay up where it is, and if he doesn't even need to be accurate at that level, but if he can maintain that high fastball as a strikeout pitch, I mean, he's untouchable. It's just not something that you can get behind at 102 or 103 even. But I like the fact that he's, you know, I like him as a dude. I like him, you know, was a wrestler in college and high school, and you know, he's tougher than a $2 steak, and you know, just all of those things that you want in a guy. You want to have him come out the mound, but he's going to have to get a cool walkout thing like the tarantula thing or something. Maybe we could work on that for marketing.
He's stone cold to me.
Stone cold.
He looks like he's got now correct me if I'm wrong. 2024, was he not with Minnesota when they won?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, he would have been.
Right. And I remember looking at this guy.
Answer in the...
He's already all over it.
Yeah. That guy, I remember seeing going, he throws hard. He's got something, and he's just got that killer look. And then he's got those like rosy cheeks, and he's just ready to just pound the mitt and just like bite down the mouth guard and try and take a single leg or a double leg. That's what I feel he's trying to do every single time. Then they said he's a wrestler. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the mentality is there, the mantra, and honestly, that was one of the things. First off, I was surprised we ever were even able to get him. The Twins, why were they shopping him with all that control and everything? But fine, their screw up, I get to keep. But at the end of the day, they made that trade, and I'm like, this guy's got the talent to be that closer. Maybe it's not going to happen overnight, but the level of control, like I mentioned, and then after seeing him, the mantra, he is literally punching himself in the face, or he gets slapped or something when he comes out of the bullpen.
The double slap on the back.
It's the double
slap on the back.
I was sorry. I almost went full Ken Giles there with the punching yourself in the face thing. But to that point, that's the kind of crazy you need at the end of the game to not let that kind of pressure get to you.
Yeah.
And it's right there for him.
Yeah. So he's my
yeah. There's your stat. He will not be a free agent. Until 2031.
Amazing. So he's locked in.
Locked in.
Yep. And then to that point, apparently our stat guy also agrees with me with the Ken Giles intensity. Hopefully he has a little bit longer of a tenure, but dear God, is he got gas.
Yeah.
Daryl, who you liking? What's your storyline you've seen so far that you're starting to love?
What I love is that typically when these seasons start, there is one storyline, and the press and the media and podcasters, we harp on it and we're dwelling on it. And it could have been Bo Bichette leaving, but that gets buried because the Jays went to the World Series last year. That gets buried because we got some free agents. It gets buried because there's still some free agents potentially get. And with so many storylines, it allows the players to breathe and it allows the players to play. And we also have another sport in this city called hockey, and it's all on the players all the time. And it's a 100-pound anvil, regardless of what they're doing. I've been keeping up with what's going on in this podcast world and also what's going on in the media and social media. And everybody's just talking about the year it was and what's the expectation for this year amongst everybody. There are positions open. There are starting rotations open. There's bullpen positions open. So really, there's a lot of storylines, and that's good. It allows this autonomy amongst the players to go and play. And who's really locked in? We got Vladdy locked in. We've got, a lot of players still locked in their position, but it's not all on Vladdy going into this year. It's not on, Bo left. We have a new shortstop. It's not all about the new free agent we got. What's his expectations? It seems to be a very laid back culture, which is good. And for once, I remember going into the season last year thinking, man, is Vladdy just going to be everywhere? Is this going to be too much for Vladdy? Could he take all this? Now he's going in. I'm thinking he's got all these guys that are picking up the spots. Clement's doing more commercials and more people than I ever expected. Springer's involved. So you have all these people talking to the media, and it allows everybody to focus on sports. So I don't have one underlying storyline. That's my thing, is I'm happy that the popularity of baseball is so big that the people want to know who our boys are. They want to get to know these guys, and it'll sell more jerseys. It'll give more of a pop in Rogers Center, and people will travel around and watch them play as well.
So one of my favorite stupid ones that I love so far, this is the fact that Ernie Clement has just become like the Blue Jays golf guy. He is on everything. He did the tournament early in the year for the Major League Baseball Classic thing he golfed with Joe Carter of all people against Andre Ethier and Mookie Betts, I believe, which was just mean. It's like, okay, great. You just lost to the Dodgers and you're going to put him with those guys. But he is also golfing in a thing that's going to be actually, I think on YouTube, it was today or maybe tomorrow, that he's going to be golfing with Davis Schneider, a bunch of Blue Jays, and the Barstools, or the Spittin' Chicklets guys.
Yeah, I saw that on social media. I saw that.
So,
yeah, it's everywhere right now.
Yeah.
So it's a very fun thing.
It builds that character. Like we're making stars organically, right? And that's amazing. I mean, we're going into the 2026 season with everybody's like, it's not who plays on this team, it's who's your favorite. Everybody knows everybody at this point. And we haven't even talked about Kirky, right? Like
you just stole it. You're gonna scoop me? You're gonna scoop me? I see how you are.
That's my job.
Coming in. So did you see what wonderful clothing brand has found Alejandro Kirk to be their sponsor, basically, for like baseball in Mexico? Anybody?
No.
It's a big one.
Is it like
Puma?
Like Copa?
Keep going up.
Nike?
Under Armour.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Under Armour is going to be sponsoring Mr. Alejandro Kirk. And I do think that is just two things. It's a little bit of a validation that he gets for all this amazing hard work that he's seen, and all the things from where I've seen him all the way down in Bluefield, West Virginia, all the way up to being one of the best elite catchers in Major League Baseball. We talked about Cal Riley not hitting 60 home runs or whatever it was last year. You're talking that Alejandro Kirk was probably the best catcher in Major League Baseball, or at least the American League. And it's right there. And then he had an insanely good postseason too. It was very spurtsy, but to that point, he called great games from behind the dish, and he found a way to contribute very massively, especially in the ALDS.
And he's a guy that was never supposed to be there. And for
never
people that don't
supposed
know,
to be there.
He was never supposed to be there. The scouts were looking at somebody else, and here he is, all 5'8" of him, probably. And he is the diamond general of that team, running everything.
He gets to be the maple beef of in all of our hearts, So he's just so much fun to watch, and he plays the game like you love it. You talk about somebody that actually is maybe the captain actually in the Blue Jays locker room, not just the Captain Kirk thing. Alejandro Kirk could be the main heartbeat of heart and soul in that ballpark, in the clubhouse. And I do think that there's a good piece to that. So not only a player on the field, but that leader as well.
I think he's a silent leader, right? Like he doesn't seem like the most vocal guy, and maybe it's the language barrier, but I think that when he speaks, people listen. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And I Daryl, you said something interesting a couple of seconds ago, which I find to be very, very, very true at this point. This is an incredibly sellable and popular team right now. Like, there are more people that know more Blue Jays right now. And of course, the World Series does that for you. But there's more guys on the Jays right now that are household names than I would say
10 years ago.
2014. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And even back then, I would say that the level is much higher now because of social media and all the other things that you have out there. And I mean, when you go and look even at jersey, like Jay's jersey sales are through the roof. And, like even on Twitter and you're starting to see people actually hunting for the promo days and all this other stuff that I missed it for the last couple of years. But I didn't notice it certainly as much.
The business side of sports on that, Jason, is for years people would say, ticket prices are high. I'm not sure if I'm going to want to go.
Yeah.
It's the hot ticket. And we have 50,000 of those games. 50,000 seats. And people are just willing to throw out their income just to go out to a game, buy the 2s, buy the 4s with groups. And it's like, all right, I want to see my boys play. And that's why they're loading up on the promo nights. They're doubling down. And it's awesome. And the fact that it's 50 years, it's a little retro. So it couldn't be any better, because the last time I was on this podcast, I shared that they're winning over those fair weather fans, the fans I hadn't watched since 2015. And then before that, maybe in the early 2000s, but certainly in the, the 90s. And now they're going to be doing some retro stuff. They're going to be honoring these players. It's just going to bring them back and get them involved and want them to stay. And I love that. Yeah.
We asked our buddy Rance last week when he's coming back for the 92 World Series night, and he didn't have an exact comment yet, but that's those kind of things are going to be happening. And that's the fun thing about it being the 50th year anniversary too, to your point. It's some of those retro jerseys and stuff. Did you guys see what the promo schedule looks like?
Yeah, they got the black.
There is really fun stuff.
I don't know if you guys have seen or not. So the trickle down effect, I haven't seen anything into Buffalo or to
Vancouver?
Fisher Cats.
Okay.
No, but I have seen Vancouver. So the Vancouver, the Nat, the stadium that they play at is like 100 and some odd years old this year. And so they're doing a new jersey. It's all white with the Nat written across it in script. It is so nice. The promos are triple what they were last year for seasons, for tickets. And like my buddies are already, like I got a text yesterday, I think, that said, get ready. The first nooner at the Nat is Friday, April, whatever it is. And so the 8 of us are already planned to take the Friday off and go and experience the whatever we've got for weather at that point, and drink some parallel 49s and
that's why I'm a big sport management guy. I took it in school. I still follow business of sport. And Buffalo, to attract more Torontonians, are doing dollar at par for Bison's games.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Well, there's a ton of that happening. Like, I mean, aside from what we're just talking about, like there's 3 casinos in Vegas that are doing Canadian at par right now because there's no Canadians going down there.
Up.
And I think you'll start to see
no Americans going there either.
You'll start to see more smart sports teams that are affiliated or close to the borders, or like I wouldn't be surprised if the Mariners don't offer some sort of a, Canadian at par weekend, you know what I mean? Like things
Same
like
with
that.
Minnesota. When I was there, tons of people from Saskatchewan there cheering on the Jays.
Tons.
Yeah.
Tons. So I'm all for the one thing is like we're it's the same as the Raptors. We are Canada's team.
Yeah.
Right. That you are synonymous coast to coast. Everyone's got a story. Everybody's got a fan, and it's ramping up. And so guess what? The more they buy, the more money we have to spend on players. It's good.
Yeah, and exactly. The other thing that it does too is that I've always felt like the Jays traveled okay. I guarantee you there is going to be a huge difference in the travel of when you're at away stadiums, the amount of Jays fans that are out. Like you said, Daryl, we converted a lot of fair weather fans. There's a lot of people who were probably Jays fans that live in other places that just never wore their gear. And they will be wearing that gear. They'll proudly be supporting. And I feel like that's something that's cool because, if the Jays have some interesting games in different places like San Diego or anything like that, it creates good opportunities, for you to go down there and experience. San Diego's an unbelievable stadium if you've never been. One of the most incredible ones. But, I'm hoping that Jays fans out there start to look at some of those like bucket list trips where they can go and catch the Jays in a couple of different places. They always represent well. And I think that's another thing in spring training that we see really strongly out of them too, is even at their away outings, even in the split squads at aways, there's still 50% Jays fans at those games, which is awesome.
Torontonians, a lot of Torontonians are in Florida right now.
Yeah.
And a lot. So it's gonna be good.
Good shit. So to that point, I just happened to bring up the Buffalo Bison's promo schedule. If you guys were curious, because it apparently was released yesterday. I haven't even had a chance to look at this, so this is a cold open. I don't know if you're going to be able to even read it or not. But let's see if I can get this a little bit bigger for you. Or maybe nope, that doesn't help. Oh no. So anyway, I guess it's being bad.
Is there any fun ones?
There's Irish drinking night, basically. I thought that was kind of funny night. They are doing vintage movie night, and they're going to have jerseys themed after the Natural, which for the baseball layman was actually filmed at War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
So, no longer there.
The current ballpark, not the current ballpark. Yep.
No, it's no longer there.
I learned that from Pat Malacaro in one of the meetings I've been, who is the voice currently of the wonderful Buffalo Bisons. They do always a great job for Star Wars night. And they always do themed jerseys and do sell the jerseys for giveaways.
A giveaway in Buffalo in the early 2000s called Base Brawl, where they had wrestling there.
That's great.
I don't think it was called Duntire Park back then, but nonetheless, it was great. It was great. Yeah. And I think they were the Mets.
They had a Lucha Libre night, similar idea.
Yeah.
So Mexican wrestling. They're doing that similar to the Blue Jays Looney Hot Dog Night. Is this Tuesdays, meaning 2 hot dogs or $2 hot dogs. I thought it was really fun. This is the fun with Minor League Baseball. They just have bring your report card night, get a prize for kids.
Must be a Tuesday night or Wednesday
night. Yep.
Yeah.
Labatter Days, which is $4 blue Labatt's draft night. Those kind of things. So that's the fun with minor league baseball. I've always loved just being at the ballpark. It doesn't matter if it's this person, that person, a little league game, minor league game. It's fun to be a better day at the ballpark than most days, right?
Yeah, and I'm very guilty lately. If my kids don't have a game and it's summertime and it's nice, I'll just walk to a park and watch. And that's
what I do.
It's so much fun to watch something you don't have any vested interest in, other than what I try and do with my kids is we try and pick like one kid to cheer for. We don't know who he is. And it could be the smallest, it could be the biggest, it could be whatever, but it's just fun to get out and do that. And it's such a great game for that. I'm very much looking. I'm going to Arizona in a couple of weeks, and I am very much looking forward to going to spring training. We've already got a couple of games. We already have tickets for a couple of games. We're going to go see Grand Canyon State play a baseball game. I'm trying to work on right now getting access to ASU's training facility. It's just, it's a lot of fun when baseball, I don't know if you guys have been to spring training, but it's just baseball is absolutely everywhere. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Everything is baseball. And now I know where a couple of the teams are staying as well. So I do know where the Dodgers are staying, and it's not the tightest of security. So we stayed there last year, and I saw a few players, and if you want to see them, you can get down there early in the morning, and they're walking out to their to the bus or to their cars. Some guys drive down from LA. So a lot of fun. Can't wait.
That was one of the things I was always happy to see. And you've already seen video of Vladdy signing autographs for people outside the player development center and all that kind of stuff like that. That's always the spring's here officially, right? Everybody's traveling, everybody's seeing the players, those kind of things. I do have one weird promo I got to share with both of you, especially seeing that Daryl and I are basically living in an ice storm right now.
Yes.
So the Rochester Red Wings here in Rochester, New York, they always have their opening home. It's season home opener, and it's always like gonna be a blizzard. So they always do if you come and you sit for at least 2 innings in the ballpark, they will issue you a voucher to come to another game if it snows.
Wow. Yeah, and it's when does their season start? April
1st, or I think I saw it was 41 days. Yes, earlier today. Yeah, exactly. I usually go because I'm that kind of a Looney Tune, but that is what it is. It's always an afternoon game. It's a nice day to skip. Go for it.
I have an interesting thing. I was just as it's known, I don't do a lot of research for this show. I try to, but I don't get time. So we were as a group, we were just sort of talking about like guys like Kaz and a few other guys that we're hoping the Jays will have breakout years. So. Yeah. Just as a lark, I thought to myself, I would go look 6 and 8, 9. So if you were to take Kaz as hasn't played a game in the majors, where do you think MLB has him slotted as in comparison to all third basemen in the entire league?
So are you watching that show, The Shredder, on MLB Network? Because that thing's horrible.
Is it?
I would have to put him at 4th.
Wow, and I was thinking somewhere in that sort of he's rated 8th behind a former Blue Jay, Matt Chapman. So
yeah,
interesting to see. But they have Jazz Chisholm as a third baseman, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Is he slotted to play third this year that I didn't know about?
It says it on this.
I know he has played it.
Here's the guys in front of them. So I think this is so.
Is this
Ramirez,
in an order? In an order?
Yeah, this is in order. Number 1, Ramirez.
Yes.
Number 2, Junior Caminero.
Yes.
They've got Chisholm at 3, which is
I wouldn't
weird.
put him there.
And then they've got Machado at 4.
Yes.
Mikel Garcia at 5.
That makes sense.
Austin Riley at 6. Suarez at 7. Bregman at 8. Westberg and Chapman tied at 9. Oh, I guess Marte at 10 and Kaz at 11.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, that's not too bad, other than the Chisholm effect going on there.
They actually have Barger two past him as well. So
yeah,
that says you're in pretty good stead for your third baseman.
Yeah.
Not to mention the Ernie Clement near Gold Glove thing.
Yeah, you got that too.
I think they just know that he's going to be slotted into the second baseman this year. And
it's fine.
What an embarrassment of riches that is to all of a sudden just go, last year, remember opening day? Who the hell's going to play third base? Oh, somebody. And then he had Ernie Clement steal that job. Addison Barger comes up in late May, needed a place to play, and started playing third.
Schneider can also play third if you need him to.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have a lot of players that have a lot of dexterity in their abilities this year.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see what Schneider ends up being this year.
I think he'll be gone.
I do too. There's not a lot of room for him. I feel like he looks like he's in pretty good shape. I feel like the Jays have maybe said to him, let's try and get your stock up a little bit and see if we can't unload you to somewhere you want to go. Like, I don't feel like they're gonna send him to the White Sox or anything like that. I think they may even take a little bit less back to get him to somewhere where, and I feel like the Jays are sort of owed a couple of trades. Cleveland, I think, owes them one, and I think the Pirates owe them one. And if we don't think that happens out there, you're wrong. People in the internet land, it absolutely happens where you see a trade and you're like, how the hell? And then a year later, you're like, the Pirates are trading, and you're like, oh, I can see now where that was.
Unless you're just fleecing the freaking Pittsburgh Pirates for Jose Bautista,
or the Mets just keep paying guys way too much money to play for their team.
Yeah, and to that point, this is the one the rumor that hasn't went away, and I just love this guy. I think he would fit the wonderful new dynamic that is the Toronto Blue Jays just so well.
Yeah,
get Kwan back in a trade. Stephen Kwan with the. You imagine having George Springer and then somebody like Stephen Kwan in the 2-hole in front of Vlad and company. That just chef's kiss, man. That is the cherry on top of this offense that you're missing right now. And it would have been a lot different. Obviously, you had Tony Taters actually hitting taters and not riding the pine. But to that point, that's what we're missing right now.
But hey, remember, Schneider was hot when he came out to shoot. He had that home run streak, and he was getting on base streak. So we know he can do it, but long term, I don't know.
I'm hoping that he's going to be this year's Ernie Clement. Personally,
the big hope is that Clement can fill, and I know we don't want to do this, and we tend to do it sometimes. We want Clement to fill a number of different voids based on how good he was last year, and I mean he's always pretty good. With pressure, nothing seems to bother him quite. But I think that if he does start to hit the skids a little bit this year, it'll be interesting to see sort of how he goes and how that works for him. But I mean, if Ernie can keep up, I mean, the guy has elite contact. And I mean, if you can have that behind Springer, it is a deadly combo. I mean, Springer can hit the ball out, and he hasn't changed. I was watching him hit yesterday, and he's just crushing the baseball. And I mean, if you can get Clement getting solid contact, even if you can get Jimenez getting solid contact and move Ernie down the lineup, because you don't know where Kaz is going to hit. I mean, he is a power hitter, but the Jays have the affordability to have 7 power hitters in their lineup.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. Put holes in the dome.
So to that point, we are at that point where all these Major League Baseball teams are trying to clean up what's left on the waiver wire, free agent line, making those last minute trades. Is there anybody that you guys have seen that is left, or you want me to put who is left in hitters and pitchers up? I'm more than happy to do that. Let me get that going here, and I'll get it back. So I'm going to sort this by the highest average value that they made last year, because it gets really weird when I did it the other way a second ago. So let me just bring that up. Sharing. Wait for it.
Sharing is
so this is the list of players that are currently left on the waiver wire in Major League Baseball. Let me scooch it up just so you can see the pieces here. The person that made the most money this past season that is still a free agent is Starling Marte, who is still a very good outfielder, but you talk about 1-year deal probably at the best, and that average around 80 mil is probably not terribly off. The best pitcher currently left available based on last year's salary is Lucas Giolito, who actually had a pretty good season last year.
Great season.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's probably going to get that 20 mil that, he's holding out for, and see what happens, or he's going to get that in a 1 year, put it up or shut it up for a longer term deal. But he's 32. How many more is he going to get? And then this is the one that I'm actually kind of intrigued by. I think this is a very sneaky Blue Jays move, and I love Rhys Hoskins. So
I
think everybody here's too old. That's just my opinion.
I feel like what you're going to see. Yeah, what you're going to see here is you're going to see a number of these guys get snipped up as injuries happen at the very, very start of preseason. And then commonly, as happens, they just get released not that far into that preseason.
And you talk about Marte, those are the guys that are unfortunately in that ballpark. It's like I don't think these guys sign minor league deals, but they're going to, to your point, they don't perform, they're going to get cut.
I also worry about the looming potential lockout strike in 2027. And if I'm a business owner, if I'm a team owner right now, do I really want to lock in another guy for a long term? I probably got 2, 3, 4 guys locked in. I'd rather go with what I have and have, a potential out in my lineup than spending big money, unless they're a game changer.
I think it's funny right now that college sports, baseball and football in particular, are going the opposite way that major league sports are going. So major league sports are getting younger. They're willing to take a chance on a younger kid. They're willing to take a kid and let them grow through their system and all the rest of it. And now the NIL portal has completely eliminated that. It's not a thing anymore. If I get or if one of my kids gets drafted or gets a scholarship to Notre Dame tomorrow and they can be cut before the season starts. That scholarship is gone. They can be picked up by another team. And then when the team loads up with 24 and 25-year-olds halfway through the season, and they're like, you're never going to see the field again. I mean, but you go to the majors now and you're looking at most teams have 3 or 4 guys that are on the very young side that they're willing to take a chance on. We're seeing guys come out of the woodwork in that way. But I think it's a very exciting time to be a fan of the game. I think it's going to be harder and harder and harder if we don't study what's going on, because I was watching some of the hockey today, and there was guys on Team USA. I'm ashamed to know that I don't know who they are or what team they play for. And I don't know if a year ago there was anyone I didn't know in the league, but if you're not, paying attention to it, and you're like, oh yeah, he's, he plays defense for the Senators. And I'm like, I would have never known that. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time.
What I want to add is, with baseball having less rounds in the draft now, and then that's a huge part of everything. It's huge. Yeah. And how that affects baseball, because they used to love to draft kids at high school. And they used to be the draft and follow, or draft them in a later round, let them go to university. Now we're finding that they go the JUCO route, or they go 1 to 2 years, and then they will get drafted again.
Yeah.
But now,
or they look heavily at college guys like Paul Skeens or Trey Savage.
Well, that's it, right? Or they go that college route, and they know that they're going to have a great program, 1 to 2 years. But nonetheless, over the last week since NCAA baseball started at all the levels, I'm seeing more on my feed that there was a guy that hit 4 grand slams in a game, that there was a guy that broke his ankle on a walk-off. And so are they prepping all the baseball fans who are going to potentially be desperate for baseball next year that there's something else? I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the other interesting thing to your point, Daryl, that I think that's a super strong point and very accurate. Yeah. And mark my words, I believe this will happen. If the strike happens, this will be the first time that we ever see guys willing to go to Australia. I've seen nothing but them talking about pro baseball in Europe, in Australia, in all these other places where they're playing pro baseball, and guys are making good money, living in Spain, living in Holland. There's a guy that works with the North Shore Twins that my kids play for, and he plays in that league in Holland and says it's great.
Maybe they'll come to Toronto. Maybe they'll come to the IBL or the CBL, right?
Or any of those other leagues. I mean, I can remember, when the NHL went on strike, you would start to see these European leagues bulking up with players, and we're in a time now that someone is going to be savvy enough that if they see this coming, they're going to get the broadcast rights for those Australian games where a handful of guys go down there and we'll be buying, Brisbane Bears jerseys that have have Bo Bichette on them or whoever it is down there. And I feel like you're dead right, Daryl, that they are prepping for some of this. And with the portal as well, like you've got guys who could graduate and come back and play for a year. They don't even have to go to school. The quarterback from Miami this year graduated from Georgia, got paid $4.3 million to come back and be the quarterback for the Hurricanes and didn't go to school.
I'm sold.
Yeah, me too.
To that point, I actually watched baseball professionally when I was in Australia. It's literally everywhere.
If you're a fan of the sport itself, like linear the sport, you're going to watch all of us. Jason said it. Yeah. I do the same thing. My wife and I go for a walk. We can catch a game. You see people play for the love of the game. I'm now watching NCAA baseball. I'm interested at different levels. So you're a fan of the game. There's just MLB fans, and then there's local fans, but we all love the sports. And that's why I started loving the Bisons, because I wanted to know who was next on the Jays so I could have an advantage on my conversations with my friends.
Yeah, that was I traveled for my job 99.9% of the time when I was for my current role. That was what I did. I would just find the local team. I'd go to the game. I'd been to El Paso Chihuahuas game. I'd been to the St. Louis Mews and all these other wonderful teams over the years. And to your point, Daryl, the thing I cannot wait for this summer is because I'm going to try to be in Toronto once a month to hang out with you, Liz, and all the wonderful Blue Jays fans. I can't wait to go to my next Toronto Marlies game because that was just one of the best freaking goof around nights I've had. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll hook you up.
Game on. Yeah. So, but that's what baseball is, and that's the wonderful time of year we are finally back at. Like I said, the wait is finally over is the name of the night's show. And that's where we're at. So last few minutes, guys, it's been a wonderful hour. We've been goofing around, having a great time. Outside of, I want to make sure I give Daryl a chance to talk about this wonderful hat that he gave me and all these other things. But is there any other Blue Jay topics you would like to hit on really quick before we wrap things up?
The only other thing I think that, I thought was a really cool thing this week was, again, we seem to be talking about John Schneider a lot, but we are seeing him quite a bit. I thought it was really cool the way he talked about Bieber. He talked about, the fact that arm soreness is a thing and they'd rather have him healthy 2 months from now and throwing bullets than worry about right now. And, just sort of to all of the reporters, like, it's okay, I got this. And then for them to hype up this Vladdy Springer shoe garbage can. Have you guys seen this? It's absolutely hilarious. And it's going to keep, Garrett, the way that Springer is, I can see him keeping this going. Have you seen the video where Springer's standing like 100 yards away from Vladdy and he's like waving at him?
Just yelling at him. Where's my shoe?
Yeah, where's my shoe? So good.
It's so, and then he just casually walks into an interview after that. Springer, is. Why not? So, but that's the wonderful time we're at. Daryl, any other baseball topics you'd like to talk about before we start doing the wrap?
We're getting ready, right? It's when the ice starts to thaw, the baseball start coming out, and I think that's where we're at right now. And everybody's thinking back, man, it wasn't so long ago. I had my gear ready, and I can't wait to get my gear going. So Craig, you're not alone. There's a lot of people like yourself who are excited to go to a game. I'm
excited for my road trip.
I'm holding a practice March 27th. It's Friday night. I had a lot of kids go, "Hey coach, that's opening day." Oh, I didn't know. I did not know. So that's a real thing when the excitement is hitting not just our age, but the youth. And these are kids who are tiny, if not super tiny, when the Jays were doing well in 2015 and 2014. Like, there's such a buzz, and that's just going to carry on for the next decade or so. So like it's an awesome time. People are buying the sports cards, they're buying the hats, buying the jerseys, they're buying the tickets. Most importantly, it's amazing.
Yeah, good stuff. So I'm just going to do this because, why not? Because you're here, Daryl. I'm going to let you do your shameless self-promoting bit, but I have graphics for you. So you can talk about the wonderful Jay Birdie Baseball Company right here.
That's beautiful. Look, everybody's getting ready for the baseball season, and we want to hang out with our friends no matter if we're going to any type of game, especially the kind that Jason and I like to go to, which is just around a sandlot, or any type of ball game. We are Canada's baseball brand. We represent all Canadians from the amateurs to pro levels. And if you want to have comfort fitting and all different types of hats and shirts and crew necks and hoodies and whatnot, Jay Birdie Baseball Co., jbirdie.ca. If you're on social media, and you're on Instagram more specifically, you probably love what we've been coming out with lately. So join the clubhouse, get your discount, have fun. It's a wonderful community. I love the banter that goes back and forth, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great season, and it's nice to see people represent our bird, which is Canada's baseball brand.
There you go. And just to say, they're going to get a nice unboxing video from me, but just the little bits, a little swag and everything. And man, it's that little extra personal touch you get, a little sticker and the actual same hat that I have that you would give in some hat swag, be able to put that pin right on the hat. Yeah. So really cool
hat
stuff.
Culture. It's what the hat culture does.
Yep.
Exactly. So no disrespect to you, but for next week, we have another guest that's funny enough, apparently going to be affiliated with the show in some fashion. And that is our friend, why am I blanking out? Our friend Kristen Art from Dugout Mugs. This is a spoiler for everybody. So this is, if you haven't noticed, there's a 50th anniversary for the Blue Jays going on this year. And this is the wonderful new product that he has that's going to be coming out and hitting the shelves in the very near future. Laser etched on what is a baseball bat mug. Surprise. So he's going to be on to talk all things spring training, collectibles, and what just baseball life is like in Florida next week. So that is our wonderful fun we're going to have with Chris next week. So make sure you tune in. Thank you very much to the near 100 people that are still concurrently listening to us and goofing around and having a great time. Also saw plenty of coming in and going. Make sure you ask those questions. That's what we're here for. We want to chat. The enjoyment of goofing around here in the barroom chat is the wonderful fun. To our buddy Esteban in the chat, it's that time of year, man. Like you said, Blue Jays are back. We also got USA and Canada hockey, all this stuff, and the wonderful fun that is the stuff. But being our Baltimore buddy,
on that one. Might be a side bet going on that one.
So on that note, Esteban, I'm actually going to be in Baltimore. Maybe we have to grab a beer. So just saying, hit me up. But on that note, Blue Jays fans, thank you very much again. We cannot wait to chit chat with you. If you have not seen the wonderful Discord thing that is all over on the bottom line here, head to jbirdwatching.com. Join our Discord group. We are going to be chit-chatting with people during the game on Saturday. Just interacting, goofing around. That is the whole reason we have the Discord chat, to be able to interact and goof around with everybody in real time.
And do it.
Games.
It's
so much fun.
More fun to be interactive than just have a one-dimensional TV.
Yeah.
It was very fun last year. We started doing that on just a whim last year with the Discord group. We literally have Shane Told, who's one of our wonderful guests. Daryl's been dancing on the outlier. He'll get in there. But all these wonderful things is just, like I said, to hang out, goof around, talk more Blue Jays baseball in what we call the Jay Bird Watching Barroom Chat for baseball fans. And to that point, thank you very much, everybody. Hope you have a great night. Watch out for the unboxing video of this lovely hat in the near future, and we'll see you next week. And as always, go Blue Jays. Cheers.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Birdwatching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider joining to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!